SmartLoving, because your marriage matters.
So how do we put values-based decision-making into practice? The best tool to do this is stop, reflect, connect.
Step 1. Stop. When discussing our differences turns into an argument, and then that argument starts to escalate, and you get that familiar feeling of being emotionally out of control, the best thing to do is stop. Call a timeout.
So many arguments become hurtful, destructive conflicts because we keep going at it, trying to win the other over. Before we know it, we're saying things we regret and doing things that hurt. So stop, separate, cool off, take a few deep breaths, get your blood pressure back to normal and your heart rate down. This is called self-soothing.
People have lots of different ways of self-soothing. Take a walk, breathe deeply, have a cup of tea. One of the most effective ways is to pray for insight and understanding. Prayer can really be helpful at these times.
This stop time is not an opportunity to rehearse your argument and gather your resources for the next assault, nor is it about avoiding the issue.
Agree to come back to the topic within 24 hours, but not before half an hour. You need at least 30 minutes for your body to recover and for you to collect your thoughts.
Step 2 is reflect. The point of stopping and self-soothing is not a time to regroup and prepare for battle. It's to put you in a place where you can reflect. Before you come back together, reflect, preferably in writing.
This is your time out to ask why. Your desires, what do you want? In straightforward and honest language, state what you really want. Your values, why is it important to you? What good will come from doing it this way? In other words, what are the underlying values? Your rating, how important is that value? Use a scale of 1 to 10 to indicate how significant the value is. Now, in any argument, there will often be a number of different values at play, but some will be more important than others.
You want to identify the most important ones because without these values being honoured, you'll never be happy with the decision.
Finally, step 3 is connect. Rejoin one another and unclutter. Come together and become present to each other.
Physical contact is so important here. A hug, a kiss, look into each other's eyes, say I love you. Just do whatever puts your focus on each other and reassures the other that you love them. This is about becoming present to each other. Understand. Exchange your notes and discuss together so that you can clearly understand each other's values. Think about how you can embrace the other's value.
There'll always be some good associated with our preference. So identify what this good is and you'll find the value behind it.
And because there is always good there, we can find a way to honour the value, even though we might not choose to express that value the same way that our spouse does.
Brainstorm possible solutions. Come up with as many ideas as you can. Evaluate each one in terms of how well it honours both your values, and then choose the one that is in the best interests of your relationship. Test every decision against this maxim. Will this choice bring us closer? Let us give you an example from an engaged couple we know.
They were having an argument over the bridal party. They had previously decided to have 3 bridesmaids, but now the bride wanted to have 5. They kept arguing about whether she had a right to change her mind.
Now, we got them to stop talking about it because they were getting really frustrated with each other and hurting each other. Now, that was the stop step.
The next step is to reflect. We asked them to think about what was the deeper meaning behind what each of them wanted. In other words, what were their values?
Now, for the bride, she was one of 5 girls and her parents are divorced, and those 6 women have toughed it out together. Now, she felt terrible about leaving 2 of her sisters out of that bridal party. Her value was for family solidarity.
The groom was terrified that she would never leave home. He was worried that she would be emotionally enmeshed forever with her family and he'd just be the sidekick. His value was for prioritising their marriage over the family relationships.
Finally, they were ready to connect. Once they understood each other's values, they were more than willing to embrace each of those values. They actually resolved to have all 5 bridesmaids, and that wedding took on a beautiful symbolism of all her sisters and her mother entrusting her future care to the groom. So the wedding actually became a strong statement of her decision to leave her family behind and be joined with her husband.
Notice in this example, there was not a compromise or negotiated outcome. Once she was able to acknowledge his concern and affirm their marriage as her priority, he was happy to embrace her value for family solidarity. Even though on the surface it may look like she got her way, in truth, no one gave in. It was a powerfully unifying choice.
So that's the Stop, Reflect, Connect tool for decision making. To recap,
Stop. Separate, calm down, pray for understanding.
reflect. This is your time out to ask why. Think about your desires, your values, and your rating of those values.
Connect. Come together and unclutter. Become present to each other. Understand each other's values. Then brainstorm ideas. Choose one that is in the best interests of your relationship.
The Stop, Reflect, Connect tool is explored in Lesson 4 of the SmartLoving Engaged online course. Here is co-author of the course, Francine Parola, who will tell you more.
SmartLoving Engaged Online is a course that will lead you and your fiancé through your preparation process. There are 9 lessons in total, each taking about 1.5 hours to complete. We recommend you do 1 lesson a week and take your time to understand the content and practice the life-changing tools you'll be learning. The SmartLoving curriculum has been approved for use in a number of dioceses for over 10 years, and we've had couples from all over the world complete it. Simple, engaging and effective preparation for you to give yourself the best start to your marriage.